Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
From Top-Notch Sports. And today we're going to be going over the 2022 Pittsburgh Steelers salary review and off-season moves. Mike Tomlin, no more Big Ben Roethlisberger. 9-7-1 last year, keeping the streak alive. Can this team make a strong playoff push? Will be the question that must be answered hopefully this year, but it depends on what they do at the quarterback position. Let's hop into the first slide. I'll have Mike take it away. Let's go right here. Mike, go ahead. Explain to them what this slide shows.
All right. So as you can see, the Steelers have $29.5 million available in cap room, which is actually pretty good for a team that has the playmakers on defense that they have. Now, the players in green. So if you will look at Joe Schobert, for example, that $8 million, if they were to release him, would add $8 million to the cap. So we'd free $8 million. Now, if you go to TJ Watt, for some absolutely crazy reason they decided to release TJ Watt, they would lose $41 million. It would go against the cap space.
Absolutely. So, Mike, that's very good. I mean, that's what it is. Now, there's no reason to cut Watt, but our point is that on this list right here, you don't really see that red guy that might be a cut candidate. Everyone that's red on this list, you would never cut anyway. You're not going to cut Harris. You're not going to cut Hayward. You're not going to cut White. You're not going to cut Freiermuth. Now, the guys in green, like Mike mentioned, that adds to the cap. So some guys that we might want to look at, Joe Schober, who's taking away $8 million from the cap. You also got Zach Banner, who's taking $5 million against the cap. Mason Rudolph's taking $3 million against the cap. Cameron Sutton's taking $2.4 million against the cap. So on the next slide, we're going to show you the notable losses. Remember, this list is strictly the people that are currently under contract. The next slide is going to show you the current free agents, the guys that the Steelers are going to lose if they don't decide to re-sign them. Mike, go ahead.
Okay, so before I get into it, I got to thank our numbers guy. He figures out the expected contracts and the percent snaps plays, and this is his team. This is the team he roots for. Noah the Bungee Cord Thompson. All right, so let's get into it. Some of the notable losses for the Steelers is wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, and he is expected to get a 2-year, $22 million deal. He was injured this year and only played 18.9% of the snaps. Next, we got cornerback Joe Hayden. He's expected a 1-year, $5 million contract, and he played 54% of the snaps. We got guard Trey Turner. His expected contract is a 3-year, $18.9 million, and he played 92.4% of the snaps. We got strong safety Terrell Edmonds. His expected contract is a 3-year, $19.9 million. He played 98.2% of the snaps. And finally, we got Akello Witherspoon. Cornerback, his expected contract is a 1-year, $4 million, and he played 31.6% of the snaps for the Steelers this year.
So typically, when we look at this slide, teams typically bring back guys, a good rule of thumb, that play a high percentage of the snaps, okay? So this year, right now, you see Trey Turner play 92.4%, and you see Terrell Edmonds play 98.2%. Another guy that also, because of injury, didn't play a lot was Juju Smith-Schuster, only played 18.9% of the snaps. So typically, teams will bring back guys that play a high percent of the snaps that also play at a decently high level. Let's go to the next slide and see the potential targets. Here's our potential target. So right now you see, again, $29.5 million in estimated cap space or estimated cuts. Number one, Zach Banner, save $5 million if you cut him. Also, Joe Schobert, you save $8 million if you cut him. That turns out to be a $42.5 million estimated cap space available after those cuts. Estimated signings, we got your re-signing Trey Turner, 3-year, $18.9 million deal, $6.3 million cap hit. Terrell Edmonds, 3-year, $19.9 million, $6.6 million cap hit. Cam Robinson, 3 years, $33.9 million, $11.3 million cap hit. Brandon Shell, 3-year, $18.6 million, $6.2 million cap hit. And last but not least, old cornerback Dante Jackson, 2-year, $20 million, $10 million cap hit. Totals at a $40.4 million in total cost, which leaves an estimated $2.1 million in estimated cap space remaining. Our needs, you need a quarterback, a wide receiver, an interior offensive lineman, an offensive tackle, a linebacker, a cornerback, and a safety. Well, we got you re-signing Trey Turner, re-signing offensive tackle not re-signing Cam. I don't know why that says re-signing Cam Robinson. That's what it say, sign Cam Robinson, our mistake. Sign Cam Robinson, offensive tackle. Sign offensive tackle Brandon Shell. And then we also got you guys re-signing Terrell Edmonds, safety. On top of that, we got you guys signing cornerback Dante Jackson. And then besides that, in the first round, we got you filling that quarterback need with Malik Willis. Second round, we got you guys filling in that interior offensive line need in Tyler Smith. And last but not least, in the third round pick, we got you filling in that slot position, the slot wide receiver position with Wan'Dale Robinson. So right now we're filling in a lot of the needs that you guys have. You guys got a lot of cap space to use. And the only thing that we really don't have you guys filling in right now is that linebacker need, which you guys can get later in the draft, 4th, 5th, 6th round. We'll see what you guys do there. So on the next slide, Mike's going to break down their 2022, 2023 expected depth chart. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, so jumping into this, I'll explain that the green are players that were signed from free agency. So we see Cam Robinson, Brandon Shell, and Dante Jackson immediately stepping in and starting for this team. And then we got the guys in orange who are re-signed. So Trey Turner and Terrell Edmonds are both re-signed players who will come back to their spots. And then in the light blue, we got Malik Willis starting at quarterback. We got Tyler Smith starting on the line and Wan'Dale Robinson starting in the slot. I like what this team's looking like if they make these moves. I really do.
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean, you look at this team, really not weak in many positions. I mean, you definitely could see an upgrade of the linebacking core, but let's just go through it real fast. This right here, you get your quarterback of the future, Malik Willis. You get 2 starting offensive tackles. You get a Trey Turner, who is an all-pro candidate a few years ago, come back again. Didn't do a terrible job last year. Come in, re-sign him, put him back at guard. You also got Tyler Smith coming in the second round this year. Now your offensive line is complete. You drafted Kendrick Green last year. I wasn't a huge fan of the pick, but he's a young kid. Give him time at center position. Your offensive line is honestly built for years to come. And Trey Turner's getting up there, so eventually you have to find a replacement for him. But that you didn't do next year or the year after. You looked at the wide receiving core. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, really 3 really nice receivers that you have. Wan'Dale Robinson is really special because of his versatility. You can use him in the backfield, out of the slot position, put him outside. Any way you want to use him, he's really special. Only 5'8", but he's a really stocky kind of a wide receiver. And again, you got Najee Harris in the backfield, really good running back. You look at the defensive line. You don't lose a damn step. Hayward, Alao, or whatever the hell you say his name. I know it says it all the time, our numbers guy. Stephon Tuitt, okay? TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith coming off the edge. You got Dante Jackson, Cameron Sutton on the outside. Still might want to upgrade the cornerback position at some point. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick and Terrell Edmonds. The 2 spots a possible upgrade. Your linebackers, Ulysses Gilbert, and Devin Bush. Devin Bush struggled this year. I'm hoping to see him bounce back a little bit. Ulysses Gilbert, according to PFF, didn't have a terrible year, but I know that we all probably think that's also another spot for them to upgrade in this coming either draft or mock offseason in general. Mike, what do you think about this lineup? What do you see as their weak points, and what are you expecting? They were 9-7-1 last year. What are you predicting for this year?
They're weak at linebacker, which we can see, but the rest of their defense is pretty good. They can probably make up for it. The Steelers are incapable under Mike Tomlin of going under 500. So I see this team probably winning around 9 games again, unless Malik Willis explodes. If they get Malik Willis and he comes into this offense, we know he's got big playability. If he can polish up a couple things, he can absolutely excel in this offense. I think with Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Chase Claypool, and Najee Harris being such a threat, I think if he doesn't try to do too much, he can absolutely explode in this offense and take this team to the next level, because Big Ben was not giving him much his last couple years in the league. So I'm excited to see what they can do. Right now, I mark them at about 9 wins, though.
What do you think for the division? First, second, third, last, possibly? Do you think they win the division? What? It's a very tough division. We both know that.
It's a division that can go anyway. We were talking in the Ravens video the other day saying the Ravens could very easily win this division. The Steelers can very easily win this division. We don't know what the Bengals are going to look like coming back. I mean, that's a tough thing to go on a crazy run nobody expects you to go on and then lose in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be very close. But right now I'd probably give the Bengals a slight edge.
I hear you on that. Now, look, here's the thing about the Steelers team. Really solid team, 9-7-1 last year. Something that we did not point out in this video, and I will right now, the addition of Brian Flores with his defense. That should make it really, really good. I mean, you got Brian Flores. I can argue that this defensive line is probably the best defensive line he's ever worked with. On top of, you got some really good safeties and a decent corner, and Dante Jackson, trying to mold him back to what he used to be. He's been struggling a little bit, but not too bad, though. We both know that Dante Jackson's a very fast guy. He's physical. They just need to get him to be a little bit better of a coverage guy. But then the linebacking core is a little bit of what they need to see upgrades from. But Brian Flores should be a huge addition to this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Malik Willis, all he has to do is hit these receivers open. If he can just accurately disperse the ball to these receivers, they will be able to make plays for him. That's going to be the interesting thing to say. And like you said, adding Malik Willis to this offense with Najee Harris in the backfield, read options can start to happen to this offense, which we've never seen before under Big Ben. So adding that little tiny explosiveness, and if he can get the ball there accurately to the receivers, this offense could become one of the most potent offenses in the league if they follow what we got them doing. If they follow this, I agree with you. 10-6, 9-7, fighting for that number 1 seed. I don't know if I can personally say they're going to be there right now. On paper, they're definitely up there, but I don't know if I can say that they're the number 1 with Malik Willis as their quarterback year 1. Ladies and gentlemen, that's really all. What were you going to say?
I was going to say Malik Willis. See, Big Ben, we've been watching the Steelers last couple of years. We see Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool are frustrated because he couldn't get them the deep ball. Malik Willis can get them the deep ball. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they use. It's going to be interesting to see how they use Malik Willis's running ability in this offense. I'm excited to see what the Steelers do.
Yeah, me too. And the thing about Malik Willis,
they are not used to that at all.
Nope. And like I said, that can open it up. The only question about Malik Willis will be, can he accurately disperse the ball underneath and intermediate to these receivers? Some of that Big Ben struggled with. So either way, you're getting an upgrade. This guy can move. And we know he has a deep ball. That's all Big Ben threw a lot of deep balls last year, a lot of jump balls, and it was checkdowns. If they can add the intermediate, short, and deep ball and have a running ability, this offense is going to be potent. Besides that, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'll see you guys soon. Mike, hit him with it.
Built better.
See you guys soon. Peace.